Family, let me tell you something. The British tabloids and the monarchy are at it again, putting on their tired show of pomp and pageantry while hoping people forget the real story. Today, we're going to talk about Donald Trump's carefully choreographed visit to King Charles and Queen Camilla at Windsor Castle. Yes, a beating retreat ceremony, military bands, state banquets, shiny uniforms, the whole works. But here's what the mainstream media doesn't want you to notice. All of this desperate pomp is about appearances. It's about trying to distract the world from the fact that the monarchy, without Harry and Meghan, has no global spark, no real charisma, and certainly no authenticity. Let's get into it. So we saw Donald Trump and his wife Melania treated to the so-called royal spectacle. The newspapers are falling over themselves to hype it up, claiming it's historic. Since it's the first time Trump has met King Charles as monarch, they're shouting from the rooftops that Trump is the first US president to be welcomed for a second state visit. But let's pause right there. Why is the press gushing like this? Why do they act as though Charles rolling out the red carpet somehow erases years of dysfunction, scandal and damage control within the royal family? Because that's what they do. They put on parades when the palace is struggling, hoping the public won't notice how irrelevant the monarchy has become. Meanwhile, Prince Harry and Meghan don't need empty ceremonies. They don't need brass bands and choreographed marches to stay relevant. What do they have? Impact. Authentic impact. Harry walks into a room with Invictus warriors and veterans, and the world pays attention. Meghan visits women's shelters, schools or charities, and it trends globally. They don't have to manufacture relevance, they live it. Now, let's talk about how the same press that is fawning over this Trump-Charles moment will turn around and insult Harry and Meghan for actually doing something meaningful. When Harry speaks about mental health, when Meghan supports working mums, when they raise millions for charity, the same media that cheers a beating retreat dismisses them as attention-seeking. Hypocrisy at its finest. And let's not forget, Trump himself has a long history of inserting himself into royal headlines. Remember when he openly insulted Meghan Markle, calling her nasty because she had the audacity to stand up for herself? Did the British tabloids come to Meghan's defence then? Of course not. They sided with Trump because attacking Meghan sells papers. It doesn't matter how unfair, how cruel or how misogynistic the comments are. The agenda is clear: protect the monarchy's image, vilify Harry and Meghan. But here's the truth. Meghan has more global influence in her little finger than Charles and Camilla can muster with 1,000 military parades. And Harry, the prince who had the courage to walk away from a toxic system, has done more for global veterans than his father has done in 70-plus years of waiting to be king. That's just facts. Let's talk optics. Trump, Charles and Camilla standing in Windsor Castle, all smiling and trying to show unity. Do you know what the real unspoken message is? They need these alliances to stay relevant. They need foreign leaders and pageantry to convince the world that the monarchy still matters. But Harry and Meghan, they don't need that. Their value doesn't come from borrowed power. It comes from purpose. And this is why the palace fears them. This is why the tabloids attack. Because no matter how many beating retreats Charles hosts, he cannot recreate the magic Harry and Meghan naturally command. And family, let me be clear, don't get distracted by the noise. These spectacles are a smokescreen. They want you to look at shiny uniforms instead of corruption scandals. They want you to look at a state banquet instead of the shrinking Commonwealth. They want you to look at Trump shaking Charles's hand instead of the reality that the monarchy is losing its moral authority day by day. But Sussex squad, we know better. We see through it. That's why we stand with Harry and Meghan. Because while Charles is busy staging dinners, Meghan is working behind the scenes on real projects that uplift women and children. While Camilla is showing off jewellery at banquets, Harry is funding humanitarian causes. And while Trump basks in the pomp of Windsor Castle, the Sussexes are building legacies that will outlast this circus. Let's also be real about how embarrassing this looks on a global scale. Hosting Donald Trump, a man who insulted women, who trashed Meghan, who divided his own country, and then plastering it across every UK paper as though it's some triumph. It just exposes how low the monarchy has fallen. They need anyone, even Trump, to make themselves look important. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan have friends in high places, real allies, from Serena Williams to Tyler Perry, from world leaders to everyday people who support them. They are surrounded by authentic connections, not transactional alliances. And that, family, is the difference between relevance built on substance versus relevance built on ceremony. So as you scroll through headlines about Trump's Windsor parade, remember this. The true story of impact belongs to Harry and Meghan, and no amount of trumpets or horse parades can erase that. Watch. Donald Trump joins the King and Queen for a beating retreat ceremony. He carefully choreographed visit marks the first time Mr. Trump has met King Charles since he became monarch President Donald Trump. And the First Lady were treated to a beating retreat ceremony this afternoon alongside King Charles and Queen Camilla. The couple are enjoying a day of pomp and pageantry with the extended royal family at Windsor Castle, culminating this evening in a state banquet. The carefully choreographed visit marks the first time Mr. Trump has met King Charles since he became monarch. It is also the first time an American president has been welcomed for a second state visit. Now, family, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join the conversation in the comments. And if you want to support this channel, you can always drop a super thanks. It goes a long way in helping us keep exposing the hypocrisy of the British media and uplifting the truth about Harry and Meghan. Until next time, keep shining, keep supporting the Sussexes, and remember, truth always outshines propaganda.